Alrighty, lads, with the anniversary, we're getting some of the hardest missions you're ever going to have to go through. Sir Nunos, Batman, Morgan, the Beast, Bargist, Melusine, all these people, even OG Gawain, pale in comparison to the challenge we have for Memorial Quest. If you don't know what these are essentially super missions that you gotta take down for the anniversary, right? If you want some of those anniversary CEs, if you want some free tickets here and there for some extra pulls, you got to be able to beat these up. Now, my QP team is not going to be able to handle this. Let's just kind of keep it a stack with that one. But do not worry. I will always be here to help make sure that you're going to be able to get through these fights. Now, if you don't know, bringing high rarity characters is only going to make the difficulty, well, more difficult for this battle. So what we're going to try to do is focus on our low rarity guys. We're going to try to make this as manageable as possible. And in fact, we're going to try to use this support Jack that they were generous to give us, because look at that. They generously gave us a skill 662 level 65 NP4 Jack for free for us to use. I mean, that's just crazy. I can never imagine another gaming company being so generous as to give us such a powerful character under our, command. So we're going to bring some guys that I think can help support Jack a little bit. But we also got to remember that Jack, she ain't the strongest unit in the game, right? We got to have somebody to kind of back her up in case things go wrong. And I can only think of one person. You know him. It's your boy, the Flying General. Now, that being said, we have a couple of extra spots, and maybe you don't have Asclepius. Some other guys that I think are really strong for a setup like this is Caesar. Just look at this guy. He's packing a charisma for the entire party. And that's just going to have to be good enough. That's just going to be really strong going in here. Now, you may say, ZTL, shouldn't you be bringing Hans for this? But here's the problem. Hans hasn't gotten his anniversary buff yet, so he's not very good. So we're just going to avoid using him. But I do really like Medea, so we're going to bring her instead. Now, that whole challenge restriction that I was telling you guys about, where they were, going to ramp up the difficulty based on the rarity that you bring, that also applies to your CEs as well. So you might be thinking, oh, I'm just going to run in here with, my K-scopes and my black rounds. And think again, idiot. You're going to be bringing some nice low rarity 3-star CEs. One of the strongest ones, Dragon's Meridian. 50% starting gauge. And that's it, is going to have to be enough for us to actually get through this fight. Same thing for something like Jeweled Sword Zelrich. This is going to be able to give us, a fat 40%. 40%. That's almost half of your NP fully charged, and a strong 10% NP gain. And I don't think we're really going to need this, but I am going to give the Ryudoji Temple to my boy Lubu over here, because you never know when you're going to need that extra NP damage. Now, just in case our boys over here go down, maybe Caesar's just not good enough to kind of hang in this fight. It is pretty high difficulty. You do want to go ahead and bring Battle of Camblon. If he goes down, he's going to be able to give some extra NP. Now, you may think, ZTL, shouldn't we also do that for Medea over here, just in case she goes down? Well, think again, idiot. We're not going to let Medea go down. Medea is going to make it through the entirety of this fight. So instead, we're just going to give her something nice. And the problem is there's actually too many really strong 3-star CEs. So I'm thinking we kind of play into the meme a little bit, and we give her a little bit of spicy Mapo Tofu, because she does actually have a healing skill, and that might come up in this fight. Now, obviously, we don't need the plug suit in here. Like, this is garbage. We don't need to be using this. So we're going to try to bring something that's really going to help us out. Jack is a quick character. Boom. We're getting some quick. The enemy wants to try to dodge, and we're not going to let him do that. And then if we are not genning enough stars with Jack, because, Jack is an okay star genner, but I don't know if she's going to be able to make enough for all of our characters to utilize, we'll have this star weight over here. That way we could prioritize Jack when it comes to the critting. And we don't need to be using any of these. I don't have any of the teapots, but we don't need to be bringing those. But, all right, strap in, get comfortable. This is probably going to be, I would assume, maybe a 30-minute fight. Like, this is pretty tough. I mean, you new guys, you don't understand what we were going through when we had to fight some of these fights. I mean, these are some tough, high-class opponents. And I mean, you got to think, like, Christmas is like one of the biggest holidays on the planet, right? And so obviously for FGO, they're going to go really hard on these. not only is it going to be a lotto, but you gotta break through some of the strongest characters in Fate history. I mean, not only is this Amakusa, bro, this guy was not only the main villain for Fate Apocrypha, an anime series, but he's also the main villain for one of the story chapters, Shimosa. Everybody loves Shimosa. You think Masashi is good? She ain't nothing to Amakusa over here, and he's being exemplified with his power because not only is he infused with the power of God, but he also has the power of Santa Claus and Christmas on his side. And you know in Fate that there's like battlefield buffs and stuff that you can get along those lines. This guy is Santa fighting in the North Pole right now. I mean, if we do not watch ourselves closely in this fight, we're going to get absolutely washed. Now, we did get a very strong open here. We have an Arch Chain, which means we might just be able to get Jack's NP. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to do that, but with a little bit of help from Asclepius over here, we're going to get a slight increase to our battery over here, and we're going to try to push that arts, that NP refund we're going to get from that just to the next level a little bit. It might be a little wasteful to go ahead and drop the heal here, but I do think getting the debuff resistance is going to be really strong because Amakusa does in fact have a way to, you know, stun our guys. And it's not just any stun, it's a bound. And if you guys watch the Kashin Koji video, you know that that bound is absolutely no joke. Now, I'm thinking maybe we do want to also go ahead and fire off Bedivhere's defensive skill over here because Bedivhere, he's a pretty strong guy, right? And this guy's going to be hitting hard, and we're going to need that thick defense to keep ourselves alive. Now, this is where things get a little bit dicey because we weren't able to fire any of our NPs this turn. We just don't have enough battery, unfortunately. So I think we're going to prioritize putting Jack at the back end of this Arch Chain because as you can see, they're going to get a little plus on this Arch Chain with that NP up, which means she's going to get even more NP than these other guys, which means we're going to be even closer to firing our NP. Okay, look at that. It was just enough. If we didn't actually use those Asclepius skills, I don't think we were going to be able to fire our NP against this boss. And we just would have been cooked, right? Because, you know, Amakusa's not only got the battery, but he's got the NP every single turn. I mean, this guy could be charging 4, 5, 6 ticks a turn, and he removes all of your buffs. Like, I was not playing around when I was saying this fight is probably one of the hardest fights in FGO's history. In fact, do we even just try to go for the one-shot here, or do we try to save that for later on in the fight in case we need to actually get Caesar in on this? I think I'm going to believe in the story support Jack, because there's no way they would have given us this Jack if she would not be able to maybe at least do 10k to this guy. And we're going to reinforce her a little bit with the Knight Tactics B over here, giving her additional NP damage and NP gain. That is an insane wombo combo. Now, unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to drop him here because we don't have any of her follow-up cards, but we can at least do what I like to call a little yoinky splinky, a little quick chain over here. Now, you new players, you guys are always like, ah, quick is bad, quick's not great, but you don't understand. The quick chain is probably the strongest chain you could be doing in the game because not only do you do damage, but you gen stars and you refund NP. It does everything. And wow, that was an impressive turn from Jack on that one. But yeah, we just gotta hope we don't get taken out here. Okay, yeah, okay, we took a little bit of damage, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I don't want Asclepius to go down, so we're gonna give him a little bit of surgery on this third skill right here. 700 healing is exactly where you want to be when you're using Jack. See, we could fire Bedivhere's NP, but I think it's too early to fire that. Instead, I think what we're going to do is we're going to go for the Jack Quick Chain. Now, you know, only the old heads will know this, but we're about to refund maybe 2,000 million% of our NP back. And by that, I mean we're going to be able to get back up to 100%. Look at that fat NP refund. And by the way, that's just with her NP gain buffs that she's gotten from Bedivhere and Asclepius. That was an insane crit. I'm surprised we survived that turn. Okay, so now we're going to be able to go in here, and I think now is the time. Ooh, I think we actually still should save that Bedivhere NP, because I don't think it's going to do that much damage. And instead, this isn't quite a mighty chain, but I do think it is something that will be able to clean out this fight. I don't know, we're losing all of our offensive buffs, but it does give us a nice little quick lead, which if you didn't know, if you're already having 100% critical and you do the quick lead, your crits actually gain a 100% crit damage buff on them. So actually right here, we're doing like 100% crits. That is a hero creation level buff. That's why we don't have, you know, a Merlin or a Castoria for quick. The problem is it's already too good. And look at that. Yeah, we absolutely thrashed this guy. I would like to see anybody min turn this faster than I was able to do, because 4 turns I think was exceptionally fast, and the RNG was crazy. If you tried to min turn this any faster, I'm pretty sure your units would just go down because you were getting too greedy. But like I said, for all of these fights, if you guys ever need any future help, if you want me to cover some of these other fights, I can definitely do that. I want to make sure that everybody is able to get through these fights and they don't feel left out not being able to get any of the anniversary CEs or any of the summoning tickets. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you want me to cover some of these other fights? I will gladly do that to help you guys out. And if not, you can also let me know in the comment section down below as well. Now, again, a like on the video, subscribe to the channel would actually be greatly appreciated. I don't ask for this all the time, but this took me quite a while to get done. I mean, we've had to go through quite a few runs on this one to make sure we actually got the winning one. So that would be greatly appreciated. There's also the Patreon down in the description down below, Twitch, all that good stuff. But yeah, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. You guys have yourselves a nice day, and I'll catch y'all on the flippity floppity.